You know that feeling when you see an ad and it just makes you feel like you have to buy something, like right now? Well, we're about to dive into one of those. For eggs. Yeah, I said eggs. It might sound kind of simple, but trust me, this social media post from Pokora is a total masterclass in sales psychology. So let's break it down and see exactly how they pull it off. So the ad kicks off with this massive warning. It basically translates to, warning, there are signs of an egg shortage and price hikes in the market. Whoa. See, they're not just selling eggs here, they're sounding a huge alarm bell. And that's the hook, right? It's designed to grab you immediately and make you feel like you've just been let in on a really important secret. And that alarm bell? It's all about one of the most powerful techniques in the book, creating urgency. It's all about tapping into our deep-seated fear of missing out, FOMO. The ad immediately starts building this world where if you wait, you're going to lose out. Big time. And just look at how they frame this choice. The message couldn't be clearer. You can be smart and stock up today while everything's calm, or you can face the music tomorrow, stress, no eggs, and way higher prices. They even say you will surely regret it tomorrow. That's such a powerful emotional trigger. They're not just selling you eggs, they're selling you an escape from feeling bad in the future. So, how did they actually create this feeling of scarcity? Well, it's all about the words they choose. It's like they've created a tiny little story. First, they hit you with the problem, warning, shortage, price increase. Then, they give you this tiny window of opportunity, the solution, today's cheap rate. And finally, the punchline if you don't act, regret tomorrow. It's a perfect little narrative, isn't it? And it's all designed to get you to act fast, without really thinking too hard about it. Okay, so they've basically manufactured a crisis in your mind. But just making you anxious isn't enough to get you to buy. The next step is to present themselves as the only safe, reliable solution. After creating this whole problem, the ad cleverly swoops in and positions the supplier as the hero who's here to save you. And here's how they do it. It's a classic 1, 2, 3 punch of promises. Number 1, a fair price. Number 2, fresh eggs. And number 3, fast delivery. Every single one of these promises is tailor-made to calm the anxiety they just stirred up. It makes you lower your guard and think, okay, yeah, things are crazy out there, but this seller is legit. I can trust them. All right, now we get to what is, for me, the most interesting part of this whole ad, the price. The seller has created urgency, they've built up your trust, but when you actually look at the numbers, there's a fascinating little contradiction that shows off a whole other layer of sales psychology. So, the ad has totally set you up to expect a bargain, right? It's filled with words like reasonable price and special rate. But let's, put on our detective hats for a second and take a closer look. Is this special rate actually special? Okay, and here it is, the big reveal. The old rate was 3,500 rupees, but today's special rate, wait for it, is 3,650 rupees. Yep, you heard that right. The so-called special rate isn't a discount at all. It's a price increase. They're literally charging you more money and calling it special. That's a 150 rupee hike. So why on earth would this work? Well, it's pretty genius, actually. By framing it as a special rate that's only here today, they completely shift how you think about it. You stop comparing it to yesterday's old price. Instead, you start comparing it to the scary, much higher price you're now convinced is coming tomorrow. It's an absolutely brilliant little psychological trick. And there's actually a name for this tactic. It's called the framing effect. It's this mental shortcut we all have where we react to the exact same information differently depending on how it's presented to us. A price hike sounds bad, but a special rate that saves you from an even bigger price hike tomorrow? Well, that sounds like a smart move. It's the same number, just in a completely different frame. So, they've ramped up the urgency, they've made you trust them, and they've cleverly framed the price. Now what? They've got to close the deal. This final part of the ad is the call to action, and it's all about turning that emotional cocktail they've mixed up into an immediate sale.
And here is the final push. The ad literally asks, what will you do? It gives you two and only two options. You can either buy now and be worry-free, or you can regret it later. There's no room for thinking it over. You're either the smart one who's prepared, or you're the fool who's going to be full of regret. This kind of binary choice just makes the decision feel so obvious.
And finally, once you're all ready to buy, they make it ridiculously easy. Boom, 2 phone numbers and supplier's name are right there. You don't have to go looking for it. You don't have time to have second thoughts. Taking away all that friction is so important for turning that emotional peak into an actual phone call. So, what's the big takeaway here? Well, this simple ad for eggs is actually a perfect case study in the art of persuasion. It just masterfully uses urgency, builds a little trust, and then uses some really clever framing to steer you exactly where it wants you to go. And the question I want to leave you with is, now that you can see the blueprint, where else are you going to spot these tactics? Because I promise you, once you start looking, you'll see them absolutely everywhere, every single day.